Good day viewers, my name is Lucky Ayasi and this is Luyasi Fashion. Today I'm going to show you how to cut a cam collar shirt. It's called a cam collar shirt because this was the style of collar that was used in the early 80s and 90s. It's a vintage kind of style. So today I'm going to show you how to cut a cam collar shirt. Most likely these are the kind of fabrics used to cut that type of shirt, a striped fabric like this or a vintage fabric. So today I'm going to show you some of the techniques, how to cut the neck, how to cut the sleeve, and all the parts of the shirt. Stay tuned. So before we proceed, I'm going to call out the measurement for the shirts. So we're working with a chest of 40 inches, shoulder of 18 inches, sleeve length of 11.5 inches, top length of 30 inches, armhole of 17 inches, and sleeve round of 14 inches. First things first, we need to fold the fabric into two. As you can see, I folded the fabric into two. So you need to take the chest divided by 4. Chest divided by 4. So we're working with a chest of 40 inches. 40 divided by 4, that's 10 inches. So I'm going to mark my 10 inches here. 10 inches. Now we have 10 inches chest divided by 4. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 inches for the folding allowance. You know, in between the shirts, where the buttons will stay, you need to fold it in. So I'm going to add 4 inches allowance. So 4 inches allowance here. Then there's going to be an overlap on the button side. You know, the button needs to, the place where we put the button, there has to be an overlap, and most times I add 1 inch for the overlap. So I'm going to place 1 inch extra. Then after that, I'm going to add 1 inch for the allowance. So let me explain this. So let me explain it again. We have our chest. Our chest is 40 inches. So our chest divided by 4, that's 40 inches divided by 4, that's 10 inches. So that's the mark I added the 10 inches here. So you know, in between the button area, there's going to be a folding in. So for this type of shirts, we normally add 4 inches to 4.5 inches. So that's why I added these 4 inches. Then there's going to be an overlap around the button placket. So that overlap is 1 inch. So I added 1 inches. Then plus our allowance, our side seam allowance, sewing allowance, I added extra 1 inches. So we have a total of 16 inches here. So I'm going to cut out from here. So we're working with a top length of 30 inches. So I'm going to place it here. I'm going to add the 30 inches for the top length here. So we have 30 inches. So I'm going to mark it. This is 30 inches our top length. Then I might add like 1 inch to it, and later I might trim it out. So we have our top length of 30 inches. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut out this top length and cut out the allowance I marked. So that's the next thing I will do now. So I'm going to cut this out. So we've cut out our front piece, like as you can see. So what I did was I folded it out the back, the fabric into two. So I'm going to cut out the back. So we've cut out our front piece. I folded the fabric into two to cut out the back. So I placed the front piece on top of the back. So as you can see, I brought out the front by 1 inch. This 1 inch is the overlap I explained. That 1 inch I added when I was cutting the front. So I brought out the back, the front by 1 inch. So the front will be wider than the back by 1 inch. This 1 inch is so that the front can overlap. When the front overlaps, that's where you can now fix your button. So I'm going to cut out the back now. As you can see, the front piece is wider than the back piece by 1 inch. That's the overlap allowance I added. The essence of this 1 inch is so as to add an allowance so as to button the shirt from the placket area on the front. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark out my neck. So when placing my neck, I'm not going to add this 1 inch overlap allowance, because when you button up the shirt, this 1 inch is going to go away. So when marking my neck, I'm going to start the marking from this back, the point of the back. So take note. So I'm working with a neck of 16 inches. So 16 inches neck, I'm going to divide that 16 inches by 4. 16 inches divided by 4 is 4 inches. So I'm going to add that 4 inches as the height of the neck. Then that 4 inches divided by 2, which is 2 inches, that is going to be our width of the neck. Now the back piece is longer than the front by 3 inches. So when I'm marking by 3 inches, so when I fold it like this, when we join the back to the front, we're going to have extra 1.5. that 3 inches is going to divide by 2, so I'm going to have 1.5 inch at this area. So when marking the height of my neck, which is 4 inches, I'm going to take out that 1.5 inches because that back will actually add to the height of the neck. So as you can see, I placed 1.5 inches away from the front of the shirt. So I'm going to mark my 4 inches now. This is the 4 inches. So now I'm going to place the width of the neck, that 4 inches divided by 2, which is 2 inches. So I'm going to place it. Now I'm not going to place that 2 inches from this overlap position. I'm going to start placing it from the position of this back. So I'm going to mark my 2 inches from this back position, these 2 inches. I'm going to place half inch from this position, down half inch. Then from this half inch to this position of my 2 inches is going to be a straight line. That's the way to cut a cam collar. This cut is different. The style of cutting is different from that of a normal collar. So from this position now, I'm going to cut it out. From this position, I'm going to cut it out. From here now, I'm going to cut it out with a straight line. And I'm going to cut here out too. So these are our neck, our front neck. So now next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place my shoulder measurement. I'm going to get my shoulder measurement, which is 9 inch. Then I'm going to slant the shoulder by 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to slant it from this position. So now I'm going to bring up my, let me correct this, it's not really straight. Now I'm going to bring up the back by 3 inches. You know, I said I will add 3 inches for the back. So I'm going to place my 3 inches. Place my 3 inches. So now we're going to fold the back to the front of the shirt and overlap it by half inch. That half inch is the allowance for the joining of the shoulder. You know, when we join the back to the front, we are going to take in half inch. So that allowance is for the joining of the shoulder. From this position, I'm going to take it up and cut the back. So I'm going to take this up, then I'm going to curve it like this. So as you can see, we are getting the shape of our neck. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to mark out my shoulder. My shoulder is 18 divided by 2, that's 9 inches, plus half inch because we're going to join the shoulder to the sleeve, that's 9.5 inches. I mark it. My armhole length is 17 divided by 2, that's 8.5. I'm going to mark it 8.5. This is the position of the armhole. Then I'm going to draw a straight line from this position, join it to the shoulder position. Then from this position, I'm going to go in by the middle of the armhole. I'm going to go in by half inch. Then I'll connect this half inch to the shoulder. Then from here, I take it down. gotten my armhole curve. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out our sleeve. But before we cut out the sleeve, we need to know the measurement from this armhole position down to this position. So I'm going to place my tape from this position and take it down, 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 down. So I have 10.5 inch. So this is how we're going to, this is what we're going to use to cut out our sleeve. Step is to cut out our sleeve. I've already cut out, what I did was I folded the material, the fabric into two. This is two, folded it into two, then I later from that two I folded it into 4 places. So this is, the fabric is folded into 4. So because I want to cut both sleeves at the same time, so it's folded into 4. So when I cut it, I'm going to cut 2 sleeves simultaneously. So what I'm going to do now is, you know, I measured the armhole, the length of the armhole and everything plus the allowance is 10.5. So I folded the sleeve by 9.5. by 9.5. So when I curve it to give the sleeve shape, it's going to give me 10.5. I divide the armhole by 2. 8.5 divided by 2, that's 4.25. So that will be my cap height. Put 4.25 here. Now I'm going to this middle part, I'm going to go in by 1.25. Then from here I'm going to come down by about 1.5 inches. So as you can see, so from this position I'm going to curve it to give the shape. So I'm going to cut it now. From here I'm going to take it down and curve it to form the sleeve shape. As you can see, we have our shape of our sleeve. So what I'm going to do next is, as you can see, I'm going to leave 1/2 inch here. So my sleeve length is 11.5. So I'm going to have enough allowance to do my hemming of the sleeve. So I'm going to take my sleeve round. My sleeve round is 14 inches. 14 divided by 2, that's 7 inches plus 1 inch allowance, that's 8 inches. I'm going to mark the cut. I'm going to fold this to the allowance. I'm going to hem it. I'm going to cut it to give me the same shape. So we have our sleeve ready. This is the finished work. As you can see, the shirt is looking very nice. You can see the collar is well balanced and it's looking very well arranged on the mannequin. You can get these results if you follow the same steps that I took in the cutting process. So I hope you learned a lot from that video. I believe you now know how to cut a camp collar shirt. I'm going to do a separate video on how to join the individual pieces together to form the camp collar shirt. I'm going to do that video separate, but at least now I believe you know how to cut a camp collar shirt. I'm going to be additional more tutorials weekly, maybe twice to thrice a week. Please, if you have any question, you can hit me up on my comment section. Please hit the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video, I upload lots of tutorials weekly. You can get a first-hand knowledge of the video. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Luyasi Fashion. I release tutorials and everything fashion on my channel. Please follow my channel. And I'm going to release the finished camp collar shirt with the trouser because I'm actually making this shirt for me. So I'm going to release the full video of the finished work on my social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So please follow me on all my social media channels. On TikTok is Luyasi Fashion. On Instagram, Luyasi_fashion. You can see each of my social media handles on the screen. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and my WhatsApp number. If you have any question, you can hit me up on WhatsApp. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.